It wasn't until right before my comprehensive exam, and I cut my hair off, started locks. Like it was a whole refinement, my whole inner being. Like even my lock process is a part of my spiritual process.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to another video of Tea Time with Letitia. So in this video, I am drinking Hawaiian natural tea. It is mango peach, and it's a blend of organic green and black tea. I'm gonna admit, y'all, I don't like this tea, but I bought it from Hawaii, and I said, I'm gonna drink this tea. I just don't like the harshness of black and green tea. So to put black and green tea together and say that y'all finna cover some mango peach with it.
I love black and green tea.
Oh, maybe I should have gave it to you then.
But not if it's mango too. That's a lot. A little mango is a little lot.
But some benefits of, so we've looked at green tea and black tea on their own individually. So some benefits of putting these two teas together is that it provides tons of antioxidants, which helps to clean up body.
Right.
Yes, detoxify, thank you. And then also it's a calming tea because black tea is known to reduce some of the nerves. So I got my tea. I'm here for conversation, and I'm going to let our guest that you've already been seeing and kind of interacting with, but I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Yeah, so I'm Melanie McReynolds, currently a late stage postdoc, getting on the faculty market to finally get my tenure track position and start my own lab. So I would say I'm a biochemist or a chemical trained biologist. I'm a postdoc at Princeton. I'm an HHMI Hannah Gray Fellow. Also, Burroughs Wellcome Fund Postdoctoral Education Program awardee. So both of those entities fund postdoc scholars of diverse backgrounds, or Black and Brown or women postdocs, to go into faculty members. So those quote unquote exceptional postdocs, you could consider me into that one of those categories. And it's really just the work that I did as a grad student. So Letitia and I were in the same grad lab at Penn State.
Melanie is being quite humble in explaining her award. She has $1 million behind her name that can allow her to do the research that she wants to do when she decides to go off and be a faculty member and change the science world, right? Find these new findings. Yes, so what tea are you? Oh.
No, I was like, it's like they give you the money like 4 years as a postdoc to do whatever you want to do, and then the 4 years as a faculty. So like you were saying, like, yeah, it's a great award. It's a great award.
So what tea are you drinking today?
So yeah, I love a good black tea and a mint tea mix. So today I'm actually doing the Earl. I love is it called Tazo? Tazo? But I love their Earl Grey and their English Awake black tea. English black a little bit better, but today I'm doing an Earl Grey and also the mint tea. And basically, like I mentioned, I'm a scientist, a metabolism person. And so a lot of the disparities that affect our community, black tea actually helps with the cardiovascular, with our stress, with our blood pressure, the cholesterol. Black tea is really known to give a lot of those benefits. And especially, as you mentioned, the antioxidants that are critical to detoxify our system. And the same thing goes with mint tea. With all of the metabolic benefits it gives, it also reduces stress. It freshens your breath, which is really good. And there's one more I was going to mention that's a little different. Who's knocking at my door? Huh. But yeah, mint tea.
Do you want to pause?
No, let's go. You can keep that in too. Because it's weird, right? I mean, this is real, right? People just gonna be knocking at your door for no reason. Yeah, mint and black tea.
Okay, cool. I didn't even think about the fact that, yeah, mint tea does freshen your breath. So today's video, I want to bring in something that isn't often talked about, but I think more people utilize this resource than people would like to admit to. And so I just want to bring some light to spirituality and having religious beliefs or just things in that nature. Like, how has it helped you, Melanie, as a graduate student and even as a postdoc?
I'm even creating a whole faith-based science network. Over my years, I've realized we as minoritized scholars in the academy, so many of us tap into our inner faith to really get through the process. So for me, I really had to walk by faith and not by sight, because when I walked by sight in grad school, even especially as a postdoc, and I think everything I went through as a grad student prepared me for the next step. So I'm going to talk in general, may bounce back and forth, but so many times if I walked by sight, I saw the impossible. I saw all of the deadlines. I saw all of the things that were on my plate. I saw all of the impossible approaches to take to do what was required of me. But walking by faith, I knew that it was going to happen. I knew that I can compartmentalize, I can tackle those priorities. I knew that what's meant to be would be. I also knew that I wasn't brought all the way from Mississippi to the middle of rural Pennsylvania for no reason. Like, if I'm there for a reason, I'm there for a purpose. And although it's dark right now, joy comes in the morning. So I had to speak that over myself. And speaking those affirmations, speaking that light, and actually seeing it, you kind of realize it builds your character. Like, we got to count it all joy. Like, the testing of our faith builds endurance and it builds stamina. So the next hardship, the next crisis that comes before, I'm able to tackle it because of my faith. But if it wasn't so I think for me to really get through the dark time in grad school, going from my candidacy into my comprehensive exam, I really had to do a whole reevaluation of who I was as a person. And it was really my inner faith and realizing who I was and whose I was. And I was there for a reason that gave me the gumption and the kick to continue to move on. And yeah, when I got to my postdoc, it was a whole new world. But I had built that character before, where I was able to speak to my mountains and they would move. And again, you have to walk by faith and not by sight, because when you see it, it discourages you. But when you walk by faith, it's just like, all things are possible. Nothing is impossible.
Mm-hmm. And that just brings to my mind when you were saying like deadlines, for example, and doing things and not really being able to see the end.
It induces anxiety, yo. It induces anxiety. It induces stress. But like, you can't carry. It's kind of like, for me, I mean, I'm spiritual too, we can religious spirit, but if you're going to worry, don't pray. If you're going to pray, don't worry. That's the thing my mama told me a long time ago. So like you said, with all of those deadlines, I couldn't worry about it, right? I just had to believe that, all right, this is going to get done when it's meant to get done.
For me, at least, it was difficult coming into graduate school because I was used to having a handle on life.
Yeah.
It was just, I just had a handle on life, and being in graduate school, experiencing this new thing where you're not going to get those instantaneous results. Mm-hmm. You're not going to see the fruit of your labor next week.
But right? You have those seeds you are planting are going to bring forth the harvest, right? So you may not see that fruit right away, but you're going to have fruit to eat for generations to come.
And that is it right there, is that you have to come to a point to realize it's really, for me, it was a brain shift.
Yeah.
For me to realize that this is a process. This is a real process. And like, I remember at one point just talking to my advisor, and she's just like, yeah, this is good. I'm not worried about your progress and your time. And in my mind, I'm just like, well, look, what do you mean you're not worried? I feel like I'm not getting anywhere. And now I'm at a place where, okay, I see that it took you know, those steps that I were making, to me, those steps were insignificant. To me, like, I was just like, I don't, you know, I'm not doing enough. I'm not getting where I need to get to. And now I realize that, you know, I do have to walk by faith and not by sight, because at that time, I couldn't see what those steps I was taking and how they were contributing to the larger goal. And getting your graduate degree is like, you think like, okay, yes, this is a larger goal. Yes, I'm committed. Like, they tell you you're committing to something for the next 4 years, but until you're really in the thick of it, you don't realize what type of commitment you really just made.
Yeah.
Did you have, so for me, I had a shift to being able to be like, okay, you know what? I have faith, and my faith is what I'm going to stand on to keep me going. So were you having this faith all the way throughout? Was there a point where it caught on? Like, what was that?
I realized that I could not do this on my own, and me trying to carry all of this burden in graduate school on my own was going to drive me insane. So I realized I couldn't do it on my own, and trying on my own was the beginning of grad school. And I think about my candidacy exam. I don't know if you really know this story. We had a paper for our candidacy. We had to write a critique on that paper. We also had to write a proposal on our research. We had just joined that lab, which was not our comprehensive proposal, but it was still a proposal on a research, and also perform a chalk talk on that proposal. So I just wanted to be a PhD candidate. You know, for me, I'm like, man, once I'm a PhD candidate, you're not gonna be able to tell me nothing. I just had that mindset. So I prepared, I was ready, you know. I did my paper, they loved it. They loved my critique, they loved what I wrote. I had friends and everybody outside with cakes, balloons. I was the center of the Black community. Got down to that chalk talk, completely bomb, completely failed. I even had a committee member who was asleep and woke up and said, draw the structure of entity on the board. I went completely blank. And that's when I started trying to draw the pathways. He thought it was enzymology, and it was, you know, our work is not enzymology, it's to the point that it was going to keep me out of grad school. But that was the most embarrassing moment of my life. And I had to go back and redo my candidacy exam months later. So, so it was kind of like, you pass with condition. No, I failed. And the only part I had to repeat was the chalk talk. But I learned everything about my science. I learned everything about entity. And I learned everything and no one could ever tell me anything about my science. So it was a moment of growth, but it was also a humbling moment. I needed to be humbled. And I realized that I can't do this on my own. And so even with getting through that embarrassment, that discouragement, and even going to our advisor and saying, I don't know what a chalk talk is. I really don't have a handle on what's going on. I had to build that faith. It wasn't until right before my comprehensive exam, and I cut my hair off, started locks. Like, it was a whole refinement, my whole inner being. Like, even my lock process is a part of my spiritual process.
Oh man, so it's two things that you really brought out, which one of them was that, yes, you did have faith, but that faith let you know that you needed to seek and ask questions. Right. So I think that a lot of times people think that, oh, I'm gonna just give it to God and leave it to God, or leave it to whomever, you believe in, right? Whether it's just the universe. Yeah, go ahead.
Faith without work is dead. And that's what I learned. Yeah,
no, that is so true. And then the second thing that came out of what you were saying was that when you had this shift, this change, like, you realized that in order for the internal changes to set in, you needed to do some external changes as well.
Yeah, I cut my hair off.
And like, not saying that, people got to go cut their hair off or anything.
No.
Everyone changes their environment in different ways. But like, I really do appreciate that you mentioned that you went through some external changes as well as the internal changes. I think that a lot of things that just hold people or, keep them from progressing in the way that they want to progress is that they either change one or the other, right? They change their mind, but then they still got stuff that can trigger them to go back to doing what they said that they were going to stop doing.
Yeah.
Or they change their environment, but then when you get in a new, your mind's still thinking about, oh, well, I would have normally reacted in this situation, or no, we gotta elevate. When you elevate one area, you gotta elevate both internal and external. So I'm so glad that you brought both of those up.
And I remember because she was like, why do you cut your hair? And, you know, I had the little bitty locks that never really locked. And everybody was like, what is she doing? And I was like, you see my locks are long. It's going to show the growth of me as a scientist, as a person. And she was the only person I told that to. And I think about it now, like I cut them once, right? But the length of my locks are how I've grown as a scientist and a spiritually stable person in the work that I do.
Yeah. Yes, I absolutely love that. Absolutely love that. I think, well, I don't think, all right, I'm about to say something about myself. I know for me, I hit that brick wall my first year. Like I remember I went into she's kind of like a graduate assistant, and I was like, I think I'm failing out. I don't know what to do. But like, and she was like, wait, has anyone talked to you? I said, no. She was like, has anyone sent you any email? I was like, no.
You're not feeling it. I remember that.
And she was like, stop, like, get a grip. It's okay. And from that moment, I was like, okay, you know what? I need to make some changes within myself, because ain't nobody around me over here telling me that I'm about to get put out this program. So I was bringing into graduate school some insecurities, as well as just imposter syndrome, period, coming into this new space. And so, yeah, I had to make those. I had made the external change, but I needed to make an internal change as well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wow. So, do you have any final thoughts you would like to share about your faith, or just having faith or leaning on other things or other people?
Yeah, I mean, when people think about what is faith, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things unseen. So with faith comes hope. And within the doctoral program, it's meant to be a lonely program, but that's why it's better to do it with the community. Try not to get isolated. Speak life into yourself, speak life into others, and really just know that those seeds you're planting, although you may not see the reap or the harvest right away, you have to know that every seed you plant is going to bring a harvest later. So continue to have hope. Know that even with your science or your social studies, whatever you're doing, a lot of times you have these questions. You see the end result, but you have to get there. That's why I really do think the entire scientific process or the academic process and faith is hand in hand, because we don't see, you don't see the results, but you know what it's going to be. And you really just have to stand on your promises. You have to stand on your proposals. You have to stand on your questions. You have to stand on, you was admitted into that program for a reason. You're not being, even, you may believe in God, you may believe in Allah, you may believe in the universe. Whoever you believe in, whoever it was did not bring you, or even if it's just life itself, you were not brought into that reason for no reason. So you got to know your purpose. You got to know your promises. You got to know who you are and your strength, and know that everything, and even when the storms come, I get happy now, right? I get happy when it starts raining, because I know when it rains and storms, it's watering those seeds that I've been planting. So everywhere you go, just plant them seeds and know that when it gets bad, joy comes in the morning.
Yes, thank you for that. That ending, really like piece of like hope, and like we're gonna make it.
Your science is gonna be beautiful. It's hard right now. Even every time an experiment goes wrong, learn from it, optimize it, get better. You know what I mean? Just like with life, every time you see the same situation occurring again, right? You're going in a cycle, right? You got to heal that. You got to figure out why that keeps happening. with life experience. I feel like in grad school, I know I lived the betterment of my 20s. And, from going back and forth with my master's, finishing undergrad to my PhD, I was done at 30. I grew, you grow, 20s, 30s, that time is a special time. And know that, we have to know that in this moment, we are a strategic people in a strategic place at a strategic time, doing a strategic work that's going to bring forth our new renaissance.
Oh, oh, yes. And this is the last thing I'm gonna say, I promise. But that made me think about Serena Williams and how she gave like a little brief interview. It was a clip of an interview or something. But the reason why she is the GOAT, right? The reason why she is number one at her sport is because regardless if she wins or if she loses, she goes back and reviews every single match and looks for any mistake that she made. And she does her darndest to make sure she does not repeat that mistake in a future match.
Mm-hmm.
And that takes time. That takes, that's like you said, it's a healing thing, right? That takes, you have to go back and review. And then you have to be like, okay, well, what did I do that caused me to do that? And how can I make sure that I don't do that again? Like, it does take work, but it's worth it.
Know this, so the enemy comes to kill, steal, and destroy. That you're believing in, the enemy is going to do whatever possible to keep you away from achieving that thing. Because when you achieve it, you're doing a great will, a great work. That's your purpose on this earth.